Welcome back, everyone. Michael here with Offshore Citizen. Today I'm going to discuss with you a little bit about how wealth building strategies and tax saving strategies and asset protection strategies all can kind of work hand in hand together. And so I think that's one of the things that people often come to me for different reasons, right? It's very common that somebody will come saying, hey, listen, I want to reduce my tax, or hey, I want to move somewhere abroad, or hey, I want to hire people in a foreign country, or want to invest and diversify my assets, or I want to be in a situation where I protect my assets. It is, quite wonderful that we can kill multiple birds with one stone, so to speak. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about how that works, and looking forward to it. If you haven't already, please smash the subscribe button, nail the notification bell, make sure you don't miss out on any of our future videos. If you'd like help with any of these subjects, we help you figure out how to build the right structure for you, how to relocate to the right place, getting second citizenships, residencies, forming companies, opening bank accounts. We help on the strategy side and the implementation side. If you want help, you can reach out to me. You can book a call. There's a link in the description below, calendly.com/Michael-Rosmer, or you can check out our websites, offshorecitizen.net, offshorecapitalist.com, and you can send us a message through there. Okay, so as I was mentioning, asset protection, kind of general wealth building, tax savings, these are kind of all different objectives that people go through. And usually when we're kind of first getting started with a major client, one of the things that we do is we kind of go through saying, okay, like what are all your goals? You have goals in this area, this area, this area, this area. And based on that, we can kind of start to design what is the best solution. But the interesting thing is a lot of these work hand in hand. So I'm going to go through a few different examples. And I think this is probably like the most compelling reason that people, regardless, once they reach a certain stage, they probably should be basing themselves internationally, okay? It's probably not that sensible to be just locally focused at a certain point. And that's because whether you want to save taxes or not, there's going to be a bunch of other things that go along that are helpful for your life and for your business, okay? So, first of all, let's think about asset protection, okay? Your assets are, when you're talking about asset protection, typically you're talking about creditors going after you. And there's two different factors that might be at play. One is, hey, they know that you have a lot to go after, right? So the knowledge of those assets is one factor. The second is ease of getting access to those things. Well, just think about this. If your assets, I sometimes tell people your assets are most safe where you are not. Because if you're in a given country, let's say you're in Italy, right? What's the likelihood that they can find out about your Italian assets versus your assets in Georgia? Much better, right? So the likelihood that somebody's aware, hey, listen, these people have assets, let's go after them, is higher. Then it's under the jurisdiction, if your assets are in Italy, I'm an Italian court. So what's the ability to go after those assets? Pretty good. If the assets are in Georgia or Malaysia or something, what's the difficulty of going after those assets? Much higher, right? So you gain a benefit simply by diversifying internationally. That's in itself, I think, like a nice thing. Now, it turns out that in the process of doing that, what are some other potential benefits? Well, potentially you can save taxes, right? Italian taxes, not good. I have some videos on Italian taxes. You can go and check it out. The taxes in, say, Georgia, you can potentially pay 5%, maybe lower, maybe higher, depends on the situation, but 5% would not be an unreasonable number to pay in Georgia. We were working with Labuan companies. They've changed some things now, but it was quite easy to do 3% in Labuan. Amazing, right? So these sorts of things, you get this double benefit, right, which goes along. Then you start saying, okay, well, what about facilitating the growth of my business? Okay, what are some other things that come into play? Can you find suppliers in other parts of the world that are possibly, lower cost, higher quality, more accessible, whatever? Probably. Like, what's the likelihood that where you're operating, you just by fluke happen to have access to the best service providers? Probably pretty low, right? Probably pretty low. Same thing with investments, right? If you're investing locally, what is the likelihood that the best investments in the world, year after year, happen to be right where you are? Pretty low. Likely, it changes year to year, and most years, the best investing opportunities are going to be somewhere else in the world. So, by exposing yourself to this broader range, you're going to gain a competitive advantage over people who are just local, right? Similarly, if we're talking about which markets to sell into, if one market is up, another market is down, typically, right? So you have the ability to kind of move and adapt between there. What about relationships, right? Being a bridge for other parts of the world. Like all these different things, you can pick up on innovation, on people to work for you, on clients, et cetera, and you can just gain a lot. Now, it's not going to be true for every business or every person in every situation, but I think that there's a lot to be said for that. Even if I think about it from the perspective of a family raising kids, right? Are your kids better off if they are exposed to just one place or if they're exposed to multiple places? I'm certainly glad that my parents took me traveling when I was younger, right? Definitely a big thing. So I think the whole point here is that very often, if you're thinking about this not from a single dimension, but from multiple dimensions, you can really increase the ROI of your effort quite a lot. And I think it's worth taking a multi-dimensional approach to what it is that you're trying to achieve. And when you start to approach it that way, you can gain tons and tons of value. So the way that I do this, and the way that I would recommend it, is I map out, and we go through this with clients in kind of detailed reports, where we say, okay, let's map out your whole life circumstances and ownership circumstances, right? What are all the assets that you have? What are the companies that you have? What are the bank accounts you have, et cetera? Then we track the flow of funds, and it's like, okay, great. You're buying from here, you're selling to here, you have marketing here, you are paying people here, you're paying taxes here, you have this expense. And if you map all that out, this is kind of an exhaustive process. Most people probably don't want to go through this, but anyway, we do it. You can identify all these opportunities for improvement, right? Some places it's like, hey, this is just fantastic, we've got it going great. But inevitably, there's going to be some holes that you can correct. And sometimes you can't optimize those, or you won't get the best solution in any given place, right? But you can end up with a much better solution overall. So anyway, interesting thinking. I hope it helps you. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If not, please tell me why in the comments. Appreciate the feedback. If you want help with any of this, please reach out to me. Again, you can book a call, calendly.com/Michael-Rosmer. There's a link in the description below. You can check out our websites, offshorecitizen.net, offshorecapitalist.com. You can send us a message through either of those. And I'm going to look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.